Welcome, O Ramadan, you are honored.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. ولخلوف فم الصائم أطيب عند الله من ريح المسك. In this sound hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, hadith number 7492, it is mentioned that the smell that comes from the mouth of the fasting person is better with Allah Most High than the fragrance of misk or musk. This Mubarak hadith of the Prophet ﷺ assists the Muslim and prevents the Muslim from becoming overly self-conscious when fasting, because it's inevitable that the smell on one's breath will change when one is fasting. Now, obviously, as Muslims, we will do everything we can to mitigate that as much as possible. It is part of the sunnah to clean one's mouth. When a person is fasting, it's permitted to use siwak. Obviously, toothbrush with toothpaste is a concern, is a problem, but to use siwak is permitted. You have to be careful not to swallow any of the wood itself or the bristles, but other than that, it's permitted to do so. Rather, it's encouraged to do so, because the Hanafi scholars, they said that the ruling of siwak doesn't change when you're fasting, so the general recommendation carries through even when you're fasting. So whilst one is fasting, one can use the siwak. Prior to the fast beginning, one should clean one's mouth thoroughly. So obviously, one should do as much as one can to limit the smell, but it is inevitable because the stomach is empty. There will be some smell there. In this blessed hadith, we find that a Muslim, as long as one has done one's best, shouldn't worry about this too much. Shouldn't become incredibly self-conscious about it and incredibly concerned about it. Yes, if you know that there's this smell, then when you're interacting with people, just remain conscious of it, inshallah ta'ala, and do what you can to make things easy for others as well. However, don't become overly concerned. Don't let it play on your mind all of the time. Khair, inshaAllah ta'ala. You are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've done your best to mitigate the smell. Beyond that, don't worry about it, inshaAllah ta'ala. Rather, remind yourself of what's mentioned in this hadith, that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is nothing negative. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is something very positive. Imam Badruddin al-Aini, rahimallahu ta'ala, when commenting on this hadith, reminds us obviously to be careful not to fall into any kind of tashbih, anthropomorphism, or to have any kind of, however vague they may be, any kind of images with regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when one is reading such hadith. So one shouldn't, think that, this is literally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is smelling something that smells like musk. Of course not. He reminds us that the tanzih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the transcendence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala beyond such matters, means that this hadith can obviously not be taken, must not be taken literally. Rather, this speaks to the acceptance one has with Allah Most High.
O month of the Quran, it is Ramadan.